Good morning. Happy New Year. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I'm going to have some Dave Rubin coming up, and you can see over here the Naked Communist. I just held the book up. Strongly recommend that you buy that. You read it, especially as a parent first, maybe even a grandparent. We're in a couple generations now, so grandparents should buy it too, and it'll probably bring back some awful memories. But you got to read it and then let your kids see it because the American cultural patriotism stuff is dying quickly. So Dave Rubin's going to have two guests on talking about exactly what I was reading in this book. And for I've been doing it for about 3 years now since I bought the book. So when you see this, it's kind of scary. All right, so let's switch over. We'll give you that, and let's see what they have to say.
Paul Robeson aside, and a handful of other prominent black communists aside, it didn't seem to have made that much of an impact. Well, it actually sort of did, because whether or not this was directed by some outside agency, or whether or not it was organic, which I would not dispute that is the possibility that actually ends up being what happens. What we did see by the justified focus on civil rights was a door was opened to not only leftist activism and Marxist and what many of us call cultural.
Now he's going to say cultural. Sorry to stop it there, but that's it. He just said the key word. The door was open, and he's not going to say Russian or China or anything like that. But the door was opened, and it was a long time ago.
Marxism, but we also saw.
Oh yeah, that's the new term, cultural Marxism.
The profound effect of guilt on the American liberal psyche in a way that had never really been reckoned with before. And whether the tipping point on that is Hiroshima or Vietnam or any number of other things, or whether it's all of them put together, the people, the majority, the elite, the original elite, the WASP elite, that was so fundamental as a cornerstone in American society, lost the will to do what it had to do to protect itself against being absolutely not only undermined but replaced and made irrelevant.
Now we're going to see Yuri. Something Bernikoff. I'm sorry, you'll hear his name. Check this out. The Yuri is from probably I'm thinking it's 70s, maybe early 80s.
Let me pause you there for a second, because this thing that you just mentioned about guilt, and that there were legitimate things, obviously, with the civil rights movement at first, but then the liberal elites didn't know what to do with the guilt of some of the things that had happened 100%. In the past. Well, here's Yuri Bezmenov himself explaining how ideological subversion can basically lead to the complete taking down of a society.
Ideological subversion, that is a phrase that I'm afraid some Americans don't fully understand. When the Soviets use the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country.
Now, that right there, I got to give credit where credit's due. Scott Adams, creator of Dilbert, shout out, has been saying that for years. False reality. As a matter of fact, he calls it maybe when he's talking about how news is presented to us, but he calls it a two-movie theme where half the country's seeing movie one, the other half is seeing movie two. Sometimes neither one of them are reality. That's where they can get you, because while one side's watching one movie, through the news or newspaper or whatever, or movies, Hollywood, or even people on, say, TikTok or Instagram. They're seeing a movie that they're enjoying, so they're going to be on that team. And then the other side is seeing the movie they're enjoying and being on that team. Yet both of them aren't reality. They're both run by the Uniparty.
It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in four basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate one generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students.
Did you hear that? When all of us that are shouting and screaming this from the streets say this guy's saying it back in the 70s and 80s. So that's 1, 2, probably 3 generations plus that colleges have been taken over. Starting with, colleges, but you can see it in high schools now, and you can certainly see it where they brought in gender, race, sexuality into 8th grade and under. So they're embedded deep with this psychological warfare.
Without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism.
The line that gets me there, and there's an awful lot that's chilling, is he says that you'll get to a point where no one is able to come to sensible conclusions. So let me throw real quick to a pro-Hamas rally at Columbia University just in the last couple of days.
All right, these children just don't have an idea of what's going on. I'm going to end it there because I do want you to go back to that link, watch Rubin's whole show. I got to give him kudos for bringing this to basically his fan base, and now I'm going to try to bring it to the people that enjoy my content. And obviously, like, subscribe, and share this, please. But again, this book here, written in 1958, or at least published by 1958 by Dr. Cleon with a C, Cleon Skousen. It's incredible. It's like George Orwell on steroids. And you can see that if we've had 3, 4 generations of our youngsters being basically indoctrinated into Marxist ideology, who's winning the culture war now? And another shout out, another person I follow is Tim Pool, Timcast IRL. Amazing that, he has a segment series called Culture War. And that's exactly where we're at. We're not going to have a civil war. As a matter of fact, if we had a civil war, it'd be the stupidest thing we could do. It would be the stupidest. The only way we are going to come back to the America that, our grandparents, great-grandparents, us, our children, the only way we're going to come back is to make sure we have integrity in our voting. Because remember, we put those people in there. And we have to fight back as a big voice. We have to love people, no matter if they're straight, white, black, transgender. We love each other. But we can't monetize and let them create us to hate the other side. What we have to do is demand transparency in our voting system and get patriots in office that will put America first. There's nothing wrong with that. We don't need to be in other wars right now. We need our border secure. We need our economy brought back. We need our jobs brought back. And you know what? We have to have a discussion about it. We have to have people in America be able to put their voices forward and continue to fight this culture war. All right. So on that, please like, subscribe, share. I'm going to have a lot of videos coming out in this year, and I hope you subscribe and spread me around. Peace out. I love you guys. I'll see you on the next video.